All right, GameForge coaches. I tried to go live, but it failed, so I'm going to go ahead and just shoot a quick video and stick it on YouTube and go ahead and put it in Facebook for you. So what we're going to be talking about is ball striking and how to use the GameForge index. So understanding the GameForge index, or the GFI, as we like to refer to it, shows you where ball striking comes from. Fairways, greens. There's a little bit of ball striking down here on par 5 scoring and go for it. But the bulk of the information that we take in the system is from the information up here of greens and fairways hit in regulation. And the key term is in regulation. All stats record in this system is basically in regulation in normal course of play. If not, that's where the disruptors and penalties kick in. So if we look here under our GFI, it shows you the average amount of greens and fairways hit, plus or minus, and plus our scoring rings. And our scoring rings are blackjacks, in positions, effective greens, and you can do the math and create your out of positions as well. The beauty is you can come in here and look at tournament rounds, practice rounds, qualifying rounds, or all rounds all together. You can search as far as much data as you have in the system. You know, as short as a single tournament round, via how did I play in the 2018 season. So again, the functionality of the GFI allows you to show growth and movement and where things are at certain times. So if we jump here into the GFI, what does it really show? What is the index? The index was created by a proprietary model that we designed, of course, and it shows how the player is playing in reference to score. So you can see the score goes as high as -8 and as low as -8 and as high as +8. So the player is basically scoring in this zone. So if we look at this player right here, they're averaging .48 under par. Their Eagles are actually playing like a 2.5 under player. Disruptors are playing well over a 4.5 under player. But their go for it, they actually play like a 1 and almost a 2 over par player. So again, it just kind of gives you, the bar graphs give you a flow and a sense of where they are in each actual indicator of performance. So the beauty of the system again is it shows you each step where they are, and again it allows you to set goals and trends and where you want to end up. There's a couple questions asked. What are the orange bars? This player doesn't have any, but orange bars show up when you score outside of the scoring system. So +8 to -8. So again, if we see an orange bar here on blackjacks, let's say they're averaging 3.5 blackjacks around, which would be phenomenal. Those would be shots 8 feet and in. They would be scoring like a 10 under player, let's say. So there'd be an orange bar that would go over here to blackjacks. And then if there's an orange bar that jumps over here, let's say inside of doubles, if we had like a doubles of like 1.5, maybe 2 doubles around, you would see an orange bar, and it would say basically your player is, how can I put this nicely, is suboptimal. You don't want to see orange bars on the right side. And the best way I kind of describe this with players and a lot of coaches is the GFI is a tug of war between being under par and being over par. So again, if we kind of look at this player here at 1.13 over par, anything that's kind of left of 1 under par or 1 over par is trying to drag them to the other side to good scoring, and anything on the right side of the 1 over par is trying to drag them to a higher score. So there's a constant battle in the system of pushing and pulling and trying to pull the score in a certain direction. And what you'll come to find out when you start using the system, you'll start to see which items you can pull and which ones are kind of clumped together. So when you're moving a single bar, it really takes 5 or 6 bars to move a bar. So you'll start to see the correlations and start getting a better understanding of what the player is doing and how to move them. So this is once again kind of how the GFI index works. So on this page, we're going to talk about scoring opportunities. So if you played a tournament round or you took an entire season, this would be roughly what it would look like. So we project you hitting 14% of your shots at 8 feet and in. We would project 38% of your shots between 8 feet and 20 feet, which is kind of your in position number. Your effective green number, roughly 34%. And then your out of position number, roughly 13%. So those would be each individual rings, not kind of stacking. So we kind of separated in position and blackjacks. So if I come down here and look at the player inside the index, we actually average those together. So their blackjacks, or their in positions actually are showing blackjacks as well, because that's a subset. And their effective greens is showing their 20 feet and in, because it's basically saying, so the index is saying from the hole to blackjacks 8 feet, the hole to 20 feet how many you do, the hole to 40 feet, what do you do? And if you look over here on the side, I actually did the math for this player. So they averaged 9 fairways, which is very good. 11.7 greens, which is a little bit right around average. 12 is really the number, 12 or better. And so all their bars are under par, except for this hitting the green. They're just a hair over par. Blackjacks, they average roughly 2 blackjacks per round, which is good. In positions, they average about 6.25 in positions. So 6 shots are 20 feet and in. And then effective greens, they have roughly 10 shots, but actually 4 shots in the circle. So over here to the right, I kind of did the math for the player. 17% of their shots are blackjacks, and you can see they're performing a little bit better than the kind of an average, the average scoring. Their in position is 36%, which is just a hair low, but again, they're absorbing a little bit more in blackjack. So 53% of all their shots are 20 feet and in, and that's really good, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Effective greens are 33%, so they have 33% of their shots between 20 and 40 feet, or you can look at it as 86% of all of their shots are 40 feet and in. Out of positions are 14%. So if we actually how to find out of positions, you can do a little math. Take your GRIs, subtract your effective greens, and you can kind of see with this player, it's 1.63 out of positions per round. So that kind of gives you an idea of what they're doing and how they're ball striking it. Some correlations you kind of see is blackjacks and out of positions neutralize each other. So these should be birdies, and these are predominantly birdies, and these would be your 3-putt opportunities. And your in position and effective greens, you can see kind of neutralize each other out as well. So these are trends that we're starting to see. We're doing more research in it, but it gives you a good idea of how the player is going. And if you do this math with your play, you can see if there's areas that they're really struggling in. As we talk about that, we're going to jump over here to the GameForge Nugget. This basically says 50% of all in positions, or 50% of all the greens they hit need to be in positions. And so let me state that again. 50% of all greens hit by a good ball striker should be in positions, which are 20 feet and in. As you can see, I did the math for this player, 11.7 divided or times by 50%. So 5.85 would be kind of the Mendoza line. And you can see this player is averaging 6.25. So you can see that they're actually giving themselves more opportunities, more in positions, which should translate to more birdie opportunities. So this is a big number. So if you want to take a quick snapshot, basically how many greens is my player hitting, or roughly more than 50% of them 20 feet and in. If so, they're getting it done with ball striking. The green number might be low, so that might be something we need to move forward or try to get a bigger number. But from what they hit, they better be hitting roughly half or better 20 feet and in for in positions. So now that you can kind of see ball striking, what they're doing, so now what we can do is let's go ahead and look at what should they be scoring. So from these different scoring zones, or we call them scoring rings on the putting green, what are they actually doing? So if you look here at blackjacks from 8 feet and in, you should be looking at a 75% conversion rate, which is pretty phenomenal, right? But that's saying an equal distribution between 1 and 8 feet. So balls that are randomly spread in between there. So they should be making a 75% conversion rate. From basically 8 feet to 20 feet, we're looking at a 28% conversion rate. From 20 feet to 40 feet, a 9% conversion rate for 1-putts. And then anything outside of 40 feet, you're looking at about a 3% conversion rate. So really low. So we can do the math real quickly. So basically we can go blackjacks. They average 1.98 times 75% gives you 1.46 birdies. So we're predicting that this player should make 1.5 birdies roughly from their 2 birdies that are sitting inside that zone. And then they're in positions at 28%. So remember, we've got to take away the blackjacks away from the in position. So it's roughly 4 and some change. So that's roughly 1.19 birdies. Effective greens, 0.34 birdies, because again, it's 9%. And we're looking at roughly 4 putts in that zone. And then they average a little over 1 putt outside of that. So we're looking at a 0.05 birdie make from out of position. So again, you can see disproportionate amount of all putts come 20 feet and in. No surprise. Your bombs are going to come at a very smaller number, 9 and 3% for your conversion rates. So now that we can kind of understand how they ball strike it, we can understand conversion rates. There's a great game inside of GameForge under assessments for putting. It's called GFI Birdie Challenge. So you take your players' GFI numbers. So we're looking at this one right here. So we got 11 green, or we'll call it 12 greens to make it simple. 2 of them are blackjacks, 6 of them are in position, 4 are out of position, and we'll call 1 sitting out there at, 4 at effective greens and 1 out of position. Drop a ball randomly in those zones. Like I said, 2 between 8, 4 in the 20, 4 between 20 and 40, and then one ball outside of that, and go ahead and say, hey, you need to be 3 under par. Go. Because that's the way they've struck it, and that's what they need to convert at. So it gives them a good sense of, this is how I'm hitting it right now, and this is what I need to convert at. Granted, your players' numbers can be a little bit different. They could have more or less blackjacks, more or less in positions, effective greens. So once again, the neat thing of it is you're setting up a drill that is really designed for what they do. That is one way to do it. You can do all the math out that way, but another good GameForge nugget for you is simply just take your in position number, divide it by 2, and that roughly gives you your birdie count. So once again, since majority of your putts come from in positions, so if you do the math quickly, so we do here, and it says it's 3.12 birdies, and we showed in the other one it was 3.04 birdies. So you can see the math is really good. So be able to snap a quick snapshot. I always check the number of GIRs to in position. What's that ratio? I divide that in half, and I look at possible birdies, and I also look at out of positions. How many times were they out of positions? So just with that quick snapshot, you get a really good sense of ball striking and what they did for the day. So as we finish up here, you can see now what is a good birdie count, what is good ball striking. So just kind of understanding these 4 bars and how it relates inside the index. So we project this player should have 3.04 birdies, and they're averaging 3.3 birdies. So that means they're making actually a little bit more birdies than their ball striking shows. That means they're getting it done on the putting green. That they are reaching at least the minimum of what we say you should do to be able to perform. So you can see this player is actually scoring a little bit higher because they have some eagles. They might have some chip-ins. They might be making a couple more putts from different zones. So they're making more birdies than we would project. So once again, this player is getting it done on the putting green. As a coach, that's definitely what we want. If for some reason, let's say they were averaging 2.04 birdies, and we would project 3 birdies, so that would mean they're leaving a birdie on the golf course via not converting. So basically, between their blackjacks and their in positions, they're leaving an entire birdie sitting on the golf course. So you can see quickly by understanding these numbers, you can project birdies, and you can really get a good sense, did they do what they were supposed to do today? So that's kind of us in a nutshell for understanding ball striking. We're going to produce a bunch of these videos over the next couple weeks. We'll try to go live again and answer your questions live. Mark Sweeney and I will be together next week. We're presenting at the Mid-Atlantic PGA Show in Richmond. So we'll be together. Maybe we'll try to go live there and answer some questions that way. But again, this gives you a good understanding of our ball striking, how to kind of look at the graphs, interpret it, and then be able to get that information back to your player. I have no problem if you wish to show this to your team to kind of get them to start thinking and understanding the detail as well. Please keep phone calling, texting, direct messaging. Keep giving us information, things you like, things you're finding friction in that we can make better. We're here to support you and hopefully make your players better faster. Thank you so much.